My name is Dave Walsh. This is Betty White.
Oh, the sweet life goes by fast. It's simple.
2013, I was working for a tech company here in Boulder, and they were a startup, and they were just kind of running out of money, is what it was. And it just so happened that I was in Mexico City at the time when they laid me off, and I was at a friend's parents' house, or their grandparents' house actually, and these folks were like dirt floor poor, but they couldn't have been happier. They were such happy people. And I was sitting there and just gotten laid off from my job and realized, all right, I no longer have this stable paycheck coming in. What am I doing? I looked around and I was like, these guys just make ends meet, you know? Her uncle sells soap. Her other cousin has a taxi cab that he gets paid. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to just make ends meet. So I came back to the States. I still had 6 months before I was gonna hike the PCT. I started a handyman business and just started hustling. And over the course of 6 months, paid my truck off, paid all my bills off, had savings then. And I realized, like, you can do this. I don't have to have a 9 to 5. I don't have to be a slave at a desk. You know, I don't have to work for somebody else's dream all the time. I can do what I want to do.
To live without the sweetest things come out, rising from the surface of the sea. Well, something's going down, something's going up. It's getting so hard to feel.
We hiked the first 1,000 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail, got into Yosemite Valley on the 4th of July and realized we were over hiking. Like, we had had enough. We just weren't excited about like going any further north. We had just hiked the John Muir Trail section of it, and it was the most beautiful hiking I've ever done. We hitchhiked into San Fran, went to REI, bought bicycles, like just full on, and then planned a 2,000-mile bicycle tour through the Pacific Northwest. Just rode up the one into Portland to like Coeur d'Alene's, Idaho into Bozeman, Montana. It was amazing, and living that way, we didn't have a lot of stuff with us. We had just what we could carry. When we went from backpacking to having panniers on the bike and being able to carry like a bottle of wine with us was such a luxury. When we got back to like the front country, basically came back out of our adventure, I was like, all right, how do I do this for a living? You know, how do I make this happen? And I had met a girl that was a Knowles instructor and had told me about it, so I started pursuing a career in outdoor education and to become like a professional guide. And I realized that a lot of folks were living out of their Subarus and Tacomas, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to stand up and cook dinner and have a place to call home. I was traveling a lot and just decided that I was wasting money on rent, and why not just take my life on the road and be other places and live a minimal lifestyle. This is my van. This is Betty White. She's a 2012 Mercedes Sprinter van, 170-inch wheelbase. It's pretty empty compared to what it typically is. Betty's actually on the market for sale. I'm transitioning back into apartment life for a short time as I take on the process of building out vans for other folks that want to take on this lifestyle. So yeah, Betty's pretty empty right now. Typically, the way she would roll is we'd have 2 bikes stood up right here, mounted to the floor, and I'd have Tupperware bins over here, and I'd have my stand-up paddleboard tucked inside. Built her out all myself. She's fully insulated with sheeting on the ceiling. I've got a fan, got LED lights, a refrigerator, a hand pump sink with 7 gallons of fresh water. I kept the van really simple as like an adventure van. I didn't want an RV. And then a big thing was making sure that I had good fuel mileage. I get almost 20 miles to the gallon with the van, even built out. I've got a nice little pantry here for all my food. I've got some storage underneath and drawers for all of my clothes and other gear. The bed is almost a king-size bed. You don't find that in many vans. It's actually more comfortable than any bed that I've slept in. I sleep so well in here. A lot of storage options in here too. I wanted to make sure I could bring like all of my gear with me. Climbing and mountain biking. For a while I had a dirt bike on the back of the van doing motocross stuff. I wanted to like have the adventure with me all the time and have the gear to do it. She's done some 4x4ing. I've taken her out a couple places. I've got her stuck. I got her stuck real good in Crested Butte. We went out there to go mountain biking and ended up parking in like this big field, all open, beautiful area. You can see the mountains, and then it rained for a day straight and we couldn't get out. So thankfully this guy towed me out. He gave me a pole, but He pulled me out, and I just kind of kept on the gas afterwards, and I hit this pothole, like this big deep hole, and launched everything from the left side of the van to the right side of it, and just every cabinet, every drawer just emptied onto the floor. So I spent another 30 minutes there cleaning out the inside of the van and covered in like this thick caked mud all over the floor in the van. I meet a lot of people in my travels that say, wow, it must be nice to live in a van like this. They make it seem like I'm doing something that's a privilege to me. Like, anybody can do this. You can go out, you need to get rid of stuff. You don't need all of your junk in your house. You don't need knickknacks and stuff like that. Like, get rid of it, donate it, sell the stuff on Craigslist. Put some money into your travel fund. People, it seems like, are too into their possessions versus like their experiences. But you go on an adventure, you go have an experience, and you look back at it and you keep that for the rest of your life. And that's so much easier to carry around in your small space than a trinket from here and there all the time. Just make it happen. Set a plan to do it. Start by getting rid of things, and then hatch how to make money on the road too. Trying to work remotely, trying to find other avenues of income and recurring revenue stream. It takes time. It's something I haven't even figured out yet. Yeah, I would love it if folks would check out my Instagram. I'm Dave in Action on Instagram, and I post a lot of photos and love sharing my adventures with people, and then sharing like the build process of the vans that I'm building now.